I die when I dance. So basically, what I'm trying to point out here is that when we do an activity that that we flow with or we really enjoy, like dancing, um, what you may notice retroactively or in retrospect is that the self, the thoughts and the apparent thinker of thoughts is no longer present when we are in that activity that we love to do. This could be things like dancing, it could be singing, it could be playing a musical instrument, it could be running or sports in general. It could be um, it could even be reading, even though your mind is actively reading. You may lose the apparent reader. You might get absorbed in the story or in whatever the literature is about. And this can happen while you're at work if you're doing an activity that you become very mentally engaged in, so to speak. So this is a valuable thing to notice. There seems to be a sort of flow, and we call this often a flow state. People talk about this in sports or in music. It can happen with anything that you basically are no longer um, thinking like a subject, and you're no longer pay attention to time, and it's almost like you don't even exist. And that's why I say that I die when I dance, because the you that you consider yourself to be comes and goes, if you notice, and what apparently comes and goes is the thoughts that are identifying with the thought of a self. So when we're thinking about ourselves, it's like the self appears or appears to appear. And when we're not, then the self is nowhere to be found. So it's more of like a thought that comes up. The self kind of comes up and it goes. And I would argue that more than not, the self is not present as an idea or as a thinker or a thought that is that of a thinker. So this is good to notice because it's a tangible sort of experience, for a lack of a better word, that we can refer to notice when there is no self. And this is can be used as a landmark for things like meditation, because when we get really the hang of meditating, then this no self um, retrospective experience, for lack of a better word, um, that this happens when we meditate as well. That same sort of no self experienceless experience is it happens in meditation. And if you're new to meditation and you're not really aware of what the mind being silent of any sort of self-referential thoughts is like, then you can refer to these periods of flow that you have in your own life, and you can get a little bit of an idea of what that's like. And the other good thing about this that's cool when we think about it is when we're not thinking and we're in this flow state, that's when we tend to do our best work, right? Even like if we're dancing, right? If you're really like concerned about how you look and what other people think of you, if you're self-conscious, then you're not going to go into that flow, and your dancing is probably going to be kind of rigid and awkward. But if you can really lose yourself, get that expression "lose yourself" really applies to this. If you can really lose yourself to the beat and the melody and the feelings, the euphoria, you're gonna most likely dance much better than if you had not lost yourself and you are self-conscious the whole time. And this is the same with like I play guitar, and you know, if I am playing, at my best, I'm not overanalyzing or analyzing at all, or thinking about what I'm going to do next or what the last note sounded like. It's more like I'm really just watching it all unfold, so to speak. So when we can pinpoint that flow is where we get the best results, then we could also um, try to cultivate that skill of being able to sort of just observe what's happening as opposed to being the doer. And if we can sort of culminate that and sort of harness that ability, then we can sort of tune into that more often in our hobbies and our sports and our occupations and our relationships, and also in our meditations. And the more that we can harness that, and the more that we can live in that flow state, there's less self consciousness and self awareness, in our lives. I mean, self awareness is good when we're trying to learn about how to do some personal development work. But if we're trying to live a selfless sort of kind of awakened life, then self-awareness eventually, after we build up our personal development to a certain point, we have to sort of transcend the self-awareness, and at that point the self sort of expands from being aware of just your self image to basically everything that is just being in your awareness. So it's like your self becomes infinite and absolute. And so self-awareness kind of it's weird. It kind of goes from like a self-awareness, like a lowercase s self, like a individual self, to more of an absolute self-awareness. And basically that's what I would consider the flow state. I would say being in a flow state is could be described as being just openly aware of all that is appearing, as opposed to identifying with some of what appears and rejecting or creating, distinctions between all that isn't that which you identify with. So that's when like the little self expands, so to speak. Really, when I explain it like that, it makes sense, but it might make you expect something to happen. Really, that bigger, higher, absolute, infinite self is what you are always, and what when you are identifying with a small individual self that's just an appearance on your absolute self, superimposed onto your absolute self. So yeah, just try to harness and try to accumulate as many moments as you can of that flow, and try to notice how it happens, and if you can try to cause it to happen more often, which is kind of paradoxical because it's it's beyond the self. But if you can put yourself in those situations, so to speak, that enables flow, then you can become more familiar with it. You can become more aware of it, and you can start to live more in the flow more regularly in your life. So yeah, if you like this video, then please hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, then please hit the subscribe button. If you know anybody who might like this, then please share it. And if you have anything you want to say, then please comment down below. And if you want to get notifications whenever I drop new content, then hit that little bell button. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.